All right, welcome everyone to another episode of Vinny Presents, and I'm so excited today to introduce to you. You've seen her in Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. I know I have. I'm so excited to bring to you Hollywood Jeanne Basone. Hollywood, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, Vinny. Thanks for having me on. How are you today?
Everything is good. I'm enjoying my cup of coffee as you are there.
I'll say that again. I like that word.
My cup of coffee. Or coffee.
Coffee with Vinny.
That you just gave me a good idea. Maybe I could do that. I could monetize. Hey, hi Jeanne, welcome and happy birthday, and have a nice cup of coffee.
I love that. See, that's good. We're Italian, so I like coffee with Vinny. It's kind of cool.
That's a cool thing. I think we're going to have to
How
incorporate.
do they say it in Italian?
Cafe.
Coffee.
Cafe.
Cafe, yeah. Cafe with Vinny.
Cafe.
I don't know. We can't. I don't know if we could copy Jerry Seinfeld. He's coffee and cars. That's right. He's coffee and cars.
Right.
We could be coffee at Vinny's. That's it.
We could do something. Well, Hollywood, we could do a coffee in the limo. That would be cool, right?
Oh my gosh. Wouldn't that be, or some cheap ass car?
Coffee in a Winnebago.
You know what? No, coffee in a rental.
I
always have to rent cars for traveling so much. So coffee in the rental. What rental did we get today?
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, Jeanne, tell us how you got started. Tell us all about yourself. I mean, I know you have a lot of wonderful fans. I've been following you for some time now. And you have a really great connection with them, which I've noticed. And I think that lends to your own nature and your own character. I've come to know you now. It's been a couple months, and you definitely are a sweetheart and a great person. So tell us how you get started in Glow.
So I'll try to make it short because it could be very, very long, but there was an audition. I went to that audition. And just like in the Netflix Glow, where I can't remember her. What are those balloons?
I don't know. You said Glow, and all of a sudden these balloons came out of nowhere.
Oh my gosh, that's the thing that came. That was cool.
I think that was the word. That was like the word of the day. Remember Pee-wee's Playhouse? The word of the day.
Yes, exactly. Or it's your late birthday, whatever. Okay, so just like in the Netflix show, when all the ladies were there at the interview, and Mark Maron says, this show is about women's wrestling, everybody got up and walked away. So I was at an audition exactly like that. It was at the Hyatt on Sunset, which the area. I don't think the Hyatt's there anymore. Also known as the Hyatt House, where all the bands used to stay and throw shit out of the windows and have all kinds of weird parties going on in the rooms, hallways. But anyway, so that's where the audition was. They were looking for 12 girls to do a pilot. There was a lot of girls there. I went to the training. The trainings were nighttime, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. They were also paid training. So usually, like today, unless they really want you, they'll pay for it. But usually kids today have to pay for training. So we were getting paid Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and they had characters that they had showed us, 12, and they were looking for characters to portray, or individuals to portray those characters, looking at your personality. I was one of the 12 that they kept and called Hollywood, and I was so excited to be that character because I'm looking at all the other ones. I'm like, oh, I can't be this one. Oh, that's not going to work. Which one can I be? It's either going to be Ashley and Tina Ferrari, or it's going to be Hollywood and Vi. And when he said you're Hollywood, I was like, yes, I'm from California. Hollywood is 10 minutes down the road from me. This is going to be freaking great. We did the pilot. It sold to television. I quit my job as a phlebotomist. That's someone who draws blood, for those who don't know. And I never went back to a regular job. And I have been keeping wrestling, conventions, signings, all of that. And how old am I now? So how many years? So I started in 1985, was training, and here we are in 2024. That's quite a few years. But I love what I do.
That's awesome. It really, I mean, that's so great because many people wish they could kind of break away from that routine lifestyle. I know I do. And
we all do. Yeah.
be able to direct your future. Now, also, people don't realize it, but it can be a very stressful, scary thing too, because of you have a lot of responsibility. There's a lot of on your shoulders. There's a lot of unpredictable scenarios, so it's not as glamorous as it looks sometimes, right?
Oh, exactly. Because, I saw people getting hurt. I think that first season was a boxing ring. Uh, Dallas or Debbie Peltier will tell you she was training some of us and she was worried. She's like, these girls can't be hitting this. It's too hard. And so she left. She ended up leaving the company. And the reason I know all of these, I interviewed her for my book. Um, and I wanted to know how she got involved. And then she told me why she left. So it's pretty interesting. But yeah, it's not all glamorous, especially if you've never been on television before, if you've never performed in front of an audience like myself. It's nerve wracking. You're scared, you're anxious, timid, whatever. You're scared. And some of the girls did have backgrounds, like Ashley and Tina were cheerleaders. So they were used to performing in front of an audience and they were amazing. I'm looking at them, I'm going, oh no, what are Vine and I going to do here? But after you get when you figure out who your character is, and that's a hard thing because they really didn't give us a lot of direction. So I took Hollywood the way I wanted her. I'm thinking this is the 80s. Look at the video vixens in those 80 rocker, videos. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll crimp my hair. We'll wear corsets. We'll wear gloves. We'll wear leather around our necks and handcuffs. And I like that scenario anyway, because I was so into the 80s bands. I'm like, okay, I'm going to make this more like me, which is so much easier to play Hollywood and Vine that way. They kept calling us pickpocketers. And I'm like, that's so lame. Yeah, we can pickpockets, but it sounds it's not as cool. So we wrapped it all up into that package and you got Hollywood and Vine.
And that's a great, yeah, definitely made a great move by just calling it Hollywood and Vine. And I remember you guys. I think 1985 was like for some reason it really stands out in my memory. For me, that was when I really got into wrestling, and I remember Hulk Hogan, all those. I mean, the classic wrestlers of those days. And I got really into Glow, and I got into WWF at that time. That's of course that's
right.
Things were just, yeah. I mean, even the shows were great. Like you're talking about how you create your character. I'm thinking like Madonna, Cyndi Lauper. The whole.
Yeah. Well, Cyndi Lauper was doing stuff with Lou Albino at that time too.
Yep.
And so, yeah, that as well. It just, you looked on TV, what looks good? You know what I mean? What is appealing to the audience? What's appealing to me? Then you just take that and roll it into a character. And once you are finally comfortable with yourself, now it's like you have power. At least it was for me. Now, instead of the audience scaring me, I could look them right in the eye and say, I want your belt. Somebody give me a belt. I need a belt. Here, Hollywood, they be pulling off their belts. Here's my belt. And I'd take it and wrap it around one of the girls' necks, throw her to the audience. I might take their drinks. If it was a beer or water, I would probably take a sip and throw it on the girl. I mean, it was so fun to play a heel. They're the best characters to play.
Yeah, and they could always, and then all of a sudden they, something, not in your case, but sometimes it happens where they, turn into a baby face somehow, and then they go back.
Oh, yeah.
To their evil ways.
There's lots of evil ways. I just, through the pilot, through the 4 seasons that I did, Vinny, I loved it. I have no complaints about anything. The only thing that I wish is that we had social media, we had this, but I know we were just totally ahead of our time. We were the first, probably all women's on television to do that 30 girl,
Battle Royale.
Yeah. Battle Royale.
I remember that.
Yep. And we did tons of those. So basically when we filmed, I will tell you this, it wasn't one match in front of a live audience. We must have got there around 2 p.m. We probably started the show at 3. That went into the night. I would have maybe one singles match, a tag team match, maybe some kind of lumberjack match with 3-on-3, and then we'd have the battle royal at the end. That's a long day. And you got to remember everything. Am I winning this one? Am I losing this one? What's the high spot over here? But see, when you're young, you have your brain still.
Tell me about
And you're sharp, you're sharp. Let me tell you, just like attack, you are sharp. You got it down, and you know what? We all didn't want to get yelled by our director. And if you've interviewed anybody that talked about Matt Simber, he was a little harsh. But I got to tell you, it's kind of like your folks. They're a little harder on you than your friends, but you learn from that. And later on, you're like, wow, I learned a lot, and they were right. And Matt was like that. And, try controlling 30 young 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds. That we had to have some kind of discipline. And of course, I broke all those rules. I hated no. I don't like people to tell me no, especially if I've already had that, yes, this is what we're going to do. And there's a lot of those in the book, Hooray for Hollywood. The original Glow Girl, I talk about some of those days where Matt was like, I don't want anybody going to Tijuana, Hollywood. He'd look at me like that. And because we were in San Diego, and I already had it in my mind, and I already said to all the girls on the plane, the bad girls, I go, we're going to go down to Hollywood. We're going to go into Tijuana. I said, I want to get some silver tips for my boots. So I had these black boots. I wanted silver tips, making it kind of heavy metal. I'm like, I'll get tips in Tijuana. So after the meeting got done and he told us no, I looked at Daisy and some of the other girls, and I said, okay, you guys, are you ready to go to Tijuana? Oh, no, we can't go. Matt said, no. I go, no. I go, we decided that we were going before you even said no, so we're going. I got everybody in trouble. But that was what you did.
Yeah, that might be a little scary now to do. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Well, hey, come on. We're talking about 1987, 88, 89, somewhere around there.
I always was impressed how orchestrated matches are. And I'm like, how do you remember all those moves and all those counter moves? I was always baffled how wrestlers could go on for all that time and know what they're doing.
So let me ask you, when you were watching it as a kid, as a youngster, what did you know about pro wrestling? Did you think that they knew what was happening? What was your idea about?
I mean, I was 7 in 85. So.
Oh, you're a baby. Yeah.
Yes. I believed it was real up to a certain point, but then I was like, well, maybe. And then I started to realize everybody was like, no, it's fake. And I'm like, well, maybe,
See, but it's not that word fake. I hate that word fake.
I know it's scripted,
but that's the word that they used, right? No. So I was told, so for us, they want us to write down everything. And the cool thing is I still have my notebook from that many years ago that has all the matches written down verbatim. You should see everything and you're doing that. So I don't know why they wanted us to write it down. Maybe they just didn't think that we could freestyle because we were so new. So I think Glow Girls, because we only did 4 seasons, as you know, I think if we would have had better trainers, Mondo was my trainer, Mondo Guerrero was my trainer, and those first 12 ladies. So we had a lot of good training with him. But then when they fired him, David McLean brought in Princess Jasmine, somebody he had worked with, and she was good. But then we got season 3 and 4, and now we have girls training girls. So to me, that wasn't the type of training. It was basic. But for me, I'm like, how am I going to learn to do something different? How am I going to learn a flying head scissor? So I started watching WWF and watching the males doing, and that's the way that I learned different moves. So like I said, I think that Glow, it is what it is and what it was, but I think the girls could have been even bigger and better if we had more training. That would be it, because we only had a little bit of training. So some people make fun of it, Vinny. They'll just go, "Oh, that's not wrestling." Yes, it is wrestling. It was exactly wrestling, and we learned from from Mondo. He was awesome. He was hardcore too, man. He said to me, "Which one of you ladies can ram your head in the turnbuckle and land over on your back?" I raised my hand first. I'm like, "Oh, I'm either going to be paralyzed or but see, again, when you're young, you're fearless. So I just did it. And when I did that, that is one of the reasons I was hired, because David McLean said, "You're number one in my book to be hired, Hollywood. Anyone who could do that." And being in the right place at the right time, maybe a little bit of luck, and I know I'm running off with this, but there was other wrestlers too, all the independent wrestlers. And so no disrespect to them. They weren't on TV, but they worked hard. Malaya Hosaka, that's one. She wrestled and worked her butt off. A lot of them. So we can't forget the independent ladies, that were before us, and then some of the other ladies before us. You never forget your legends, that's for sure. Because if it wasn't for them, you and I wouldn't be having this conversation at the moment. So.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and that's important to note. And as far as those moves, they look so fluid and almost easy, but one bad move and
one slip,
you're done. Your career's over.
Yeah. And I saw a lot of girls get hurt, mostly knees. Knock on wood, I'm still knocking on it. In Glow, I did not get hurt at all. I don't know, it's because I kind of was like Gumby. If you look at my body out there, I'm very skinny, probably 110. You couldn't keep fat on me. I could eat McDonald's. But the poor other ladies, Matt would yell at them. "You're fat, you're this, you're that. I want you to see what you're going to look like on TV." And so a lot of the girls, and I look at them today, or back then, no, they weren't fat. No, they weren't at all, but it was a different time. 80s was a different place. But he was hard on them. But for me, I could go through the drive-thru and eat French fries and McDonald's chicken McNuggets. Anything from our commissary at the Riviera Hotel, you couldn't keep it on. I couldn't keep it on. So I was Gumby out there, and thank God I didn't get hurt, but I got hurt afterwards.